Hey everyone, welcome back to the DFS Bros. Today we're going to be talking about our top 6 running backs for the fantasy season per standard scoring. I'm going to let Kirk start off with who our number 1 is.
All right, so consensus around the industry, easy. First pick, McCaffrey. Last year, he had insane usage. He had over 90% of the time he was on the field. He nearly made 1,400 rush yards. He was the first person since 1999, since Marshall Faulk, to go for 1,000. So he was the third person in history with that. Has 116 receptions on the year, 141 targets. Number 1 in snaps, opportunities, touchdowns, fantasy points per game by a wide margin. Just usage is insane. He was 8th in total receptions, including tight ends, wide receivers, everything. And actually 2nd in targets, only behind Michael Thomas. He's going to give you an elite advantage come playoff time because week 15, which is usually your semifinals in fantasy, he's playing Green Bay, which was one of the bottom 10 as a Green Bay fan. I know. Bottom 10 run defense.
Just NFC Championship last year.
Yeah. And then in the week 16, which will be your finals, he gets to play against Washington, a team that they should give the ball to him between 25, 30 times. And against that defense, he's going to break off 1 or 2 long ones, maybe a couple of touchdowns. Just should help you win your league.
Yeah, I like Christian McCaffrey a lot. He was my 101 last year. I would have loved to draft him in every league possible. I would love to draft him in every league possible again this year. Just some little things that I have down for Christian McCaffrey. He has 91% of the Panthers' rushing attempts. The next closest running back has 85% of their team's rushing attempts. He has 23% of their target share, which is 14th best out of any position. Only 13 receivers have a higher target share than him. And he had 30% of his team's receptions last year. Only Michael Thomas had a higher percentage of receptions for their team. So those are just things that we like about Christian McCaffrey. He has a quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater who loves to dink and dunk the ball. So Christian McCaffrey is our 101 for running back, 101 for overall player too.
Yeah, the only changes really, like you said, they have the new quarterback, they have a new head coach, and they have a new offensive coordinator. But other than that, I think they're pretty much going to see how he did last year, and he'll probably not be on the field as much, but he'll still be the number 1 player or his usage.
For number 2 and 3, Kirk and I, we both have Saquon Barkley and Ezekiel Elliott. This is another case where we flip-flop on a player where he has Saquon at 2, I have Saquon at 3, and then Zeke the other way around. Both of these players, they had almost identical percentages as far as rushing percentage for their team, rushing touchdowns for their team, receiving percentage for their team. To me, they're almost identical players, but for me, Zeke is my second best running back because Dallas has better offense. Saquon, he will have a majority of the workload for the Giants out of necessity, but their offensive line is still bad. Cowboys' offensive line isn't as good as it has been recently, but it's still better than the Giants, with defenses having to respect Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and even the rookie CeeDee Lamb. It's going to open up a lot of room for Ezekiel Elliott to have a tremendous fantasy season. Same for Saquon with him, just the amount of opportunities he will get for his team. To me, they are 2A and 2B, and then it just happens to be Zeke for me.
Okay, so the things that I noticed with Barkley, arguably the top running back in the league, talent-wise, size, speed, agility, everything, just off the charts. He was top 5 in snaps and opportunities last year. They added the 4th overall pick from Georgia, Andrew Thomas. They also went in and used their 3rd-round pick on offensive tackle, and they
Mhm.
used their 5th-round pick on offensive guard. They went out into
Mhm.
free agency and signed a tackle that's like a part-time tackle in Fleming,
Mhm.
kind of situational use. But, I mean, he was on Dallas. He was good for them. He'll be good in this system. The offense is going to be better with Daniel Jones full-time instead of the Eli Daniel Jones switch. And they also got a new coordinator with Jason Garrett. Thing we know about Jason Garrett in the past, he chooses one running back and runs him all the
Mhm.
time, i.e. Ezekiel Elliott. So those are good things, just to kind of add to what Nick had already said.
Yeah.
For Zeke, though, was number 2 in carries last year, only 2 carries behind Derrick Henry, top 300 carries again. He has a top offensive line, top 5 in snap percentage, just like Barkley. Number 1 in red zone touches last year. In standard scoring, it's a definite big benefit to have him over Barkley possibly. Barkley is in the receiving game just a little bit more. So if you're in PPR, definitely lean towards Barkley.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Zeke, though, has 0 injury concerns whatsoever. He hasn't even been on the injury report since preseason his rookie year. So pretty much since he played a game, he's never
Wow.
been hurt.
Yeah.
Um,
You just jinxed him, though.
He missed 1 game one time because they were 13-2, missed the 4 games for suspension, missed another like week 17 game, just stuff like that. But as far as injury, he's insanely durable.
Yeah.
The concerns to me is that Mike McCarthy's in town. He likes to ruin good things.
Yeah.
And he's always been a two-back guy. We
Mhm.
see the talent that Aaron Jones has now, being an extremely talented running back, but still would not give him the full workload. A lot of that
Mhm.
has to do with his inability to pass block. I understand that, but he does like to spell and have a fresh body on the field. So I could see Zeke maybe going from 20 touches a game to maybe like 18, just going down just
Ooh.
slightly.
Yeah.
They did lose a center, but they went into the draft in the 4th round and probably replaced with one of the best centers in the draft.
Mhm.
So there's not going to be too much change. He'll still end up as a top 5 running back, guaranteed. You won't have any games missed as long as he stays out of trouble.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
and in the playoffs, he's got a pretty good playoff matchups. Nothing too bad. So I mean, fantasy playoff centers.
Yeah. Yeah. We know. So number 4, we have Derrick Henry. I just want to start off by saying Derrick Henry in fantasy football. My philosophy is running backs matter, but in real life football, running backs do not matter. Most coaches can put in a running back, and the team will just go on as it is, with the exception of a few teams. I know Kirk has a different opinion on Derrick Henry than me. We both have him at 4. Uh, I think Derrick Henry will have a fantastic year because of the franchise tag. I do not think the Titans are going to re-sign him because running backs don't matter and they can just get a new one. I know Derrick Henry is a beast. He's a man among boys. He 26 is old for a running back in the NFL. There's
That is
only like
mid prime. That's their prime.
it's on the way out.
They'll burn out by 28, so
Yeah,
they got 3 years out of him.
he's on the way out. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. There's a reason they re-signed Ryan Tannehill before they re-signed Derrick Henry. A lot of people expected it to be the other way around, but it's not. I think they're going to run the wheels off of Derrick Henry, and those tires are going to be bald with the wires showing at the end of the season. And he'll cash in, get a big contract somewhere else. I just don't think it's going to be with the Titans, and that's why I think he's primed to be in the 4 spot. But I just think it's because they're just going to abuse him all season. That's just why. I know Kirk disagrees, and I'll let him explain why he disagrees with me on that.
I think this team is building around Derrick Henry, actually. I think that they put a lot of work into their offensive line. They re-signed the quarterback that fit him. And I think everybody does a thing and it's a copycat league. Right now, the
Mhm.
copycat thing is draft a running back, have him start his prime around 23 or so, and let him run out until his rookie deal's over.
Mhm.
Franchise tag him maybe once, and then let him on his way. Somebody will sign him, give him a lot of money, and kind of what Cook is running into trouble with now. Hey, I showed I'm elite talent, but Vikings don't want to pay the money because they have good backups behind them to
Mhm.
repeat the system, spend money elsewhere. But I think Titans know in Tennessee they don't have too many options. It's not like they are New York or Florida or anything, California. Pretty much got to take what they get, and the community loves Derrick Henry. In high
Mhm.
school, he was one of the best high school running backs of all time.
Yeah.
College, he was elite college running back. So he's a proven commodity that he can be elite at any level.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree with the talent. I just think with the way the NFL works, he's not going to be back, and to me, him not going to be back, in my opinion, equals amazing year because they're going to abuse his body. That's just my opinion on it. Uh,
So things to add on Derrick Henry last year, led the league in total carries with 303 carries.
right.
Had 18 total touchdowns.
Mhm.
That was like third in the league behind McCaffrey and Aaron Jones.
Mhm.
He had sixth ranked in run blocking offensive line. They went out and drafted Isaiah Wilson from Georgia,
Mhm.
first round. They actually lost Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis didn't
Yep.
see the field that much, but his involvement in the passing game and a little bit should maybe get Derrick Henry a little bit more, maybe one
Mhm.
more reception per game, and adding one more reception per game to what he already has. He's able to break anything off for a touchdown.
That is true.
Um, they did add a third round running back in the draft. I just don't see him being too much of a compliment.
Mhm.
He's a smaller guy, so people think maybe Deion Lewis, but he just isn't a pass catching back, even though he's small.
All right.
Um, and he's durable. In his NFL career, he's only missed one game. He had a hamstring issue, and then he ended up playing right afterwards.
Yeah.
Far as fantasy playoffs, he will win you your fantasy playoffs. He finishes strong every year.
Mhm.
This year, he's going to play the Jags, which were the second worst team, week 14. Week 15, he plays Detroit, which were the fourth worst. And then
Mhm.
16 in your championship, he gets Green Bay again, bottom
Mhm.
5. I'm bottom 10. So in the end, he'll get you to the playoffs, and then he'll finish strong for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think he's gonna have an excellent year.
PPR wise, I would probably make him outside the top 5. He'd be in that maybe
Mhm.
7 to 10 range.
Yeah, I'd move if this is if our rankings were based on PPR, I would move Alvin Kamara and maybe Joe Mixon above him and move
Mm-hmm.
him maybe down to my 8th spot. Um, 5 and 6 is another area where Kirk and I disagree. Same two players, like the last few times we have disagreed. We have Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook at our 5 and 6 spots. I have Alvin Kamara at 5 and Dalvin Cook at 6. Kirk has them the other way. Um, Last year, Alvin Kamara was the running back 12 on the season. The Saints, it was like, trying to think of the best word. It was no hiding that the Saints were hurt last year. Uh, they were a fantastic team. They got the second seed. No, they got the third seed in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Uh,
they went 13-3 and
yes,
got a third seed.
almost got the second seed.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Almost got the first seed.
yeah, the NFC top 3 last year was insane. Um, Kamara wasn't healthy and had 5 games with Teddy Bridgewater with the quarterback. He's only been with in practice. He missed 2 games and had a sloppy start. He had 3 weeks off due to 2 games injury and then 1 week with the bye. He came back and destroyed his last 8 games. Uh, I think Alvin Kamara is a good spot for 5. I think Dalvin Cook, he's never had a full season in the NFL. Some people have a sour taste in their mouths from last year with him missing the playoffs, fantasy playoffs, and him missing time against the Chargers game, which made him the running back 58 on the week. It just left a sour taste in people's mouth. People have the injury prone tag on Dalvin Cook. Um, he's just one of those players that is unhealthy until he proves he's not unhealthy. He was the running back 2 until week 14, and missing those 3 games dropped him down to the running back 5. Plus the projected holdout. I honestly think he's going to hold out, and I think he's going to miss games because of the holdout and because of injury. To me, there's no way you can't predict a season of Dalvin Cook without injury. When he's on the field, he will be running back 1, 2, or 3 on the week most times. But overall season, you will not be happy with the weeks he misses and trying to find a backup, having to rely on Alexander Madison or the third string possibly getting the start that week, depending on game script, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let Kirk talk about Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook now.
So I do have Cook as my 5. He does have an awful injury history. He's been injured in college, was injured in 2018, 2019. 2017, he missed 12 games. 2018, 5 games. Last year, 2. He was the number 1 running back until week 4. Mm-hmm. And like Nick said, until he got hurt, he was the number 2 running back. So when he's on the field in Kubiak's system, which Kubiak always produces running backs, he doesn't have to get a huge workload to be productive. But he does receive a lot of receptions. He has a lot of red zone attempts. He missed 2 games, had 250 carries, 53 receptions. He still finished the year 10th in receptions and 6th in receiving yards. Mm-hmm. He was 4th in evaded tackles last year, 2nd in fantasy points per game, and had the 3rd most goal line carries. The things that do scare me, just the injury. His playoffs are awful. Week 14, he's playing Tampa Bay. They stop every running back. They even shut down McCaffrey last year. Yeah. Week 15, they're playing a rival in Chicago. And then week 16, they're going up against New Orleans, who is the number 4. Cook is matchup proof. You start him no matter what. But when you're seeing someone else having a top 10 running back against the Detroit Lions or the Washington Redskins, and you're worried about them breaking off 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, and you got Cook, mm-hmm. who might get you 60 yards, maybe squeeze out a touchdown to help save the day, but mm-hmm. it's just not something you're licking your chops at.
Right. To me, Dalvin Cook, a lot of people have him as their 3 or 4.
There's just a lot of concerns.
Mm-hmm. To me, I look at it as Christian McCaffrey. Would you draft his backup with drafting Christian McCaffrey? No. Most people don't even know who Christian McCaffrey's backup is. Zeke, would you draft Tony Pollard with Zeke if you were to draft Zeke in later rounds? I don't think I would. Saquon Barkley, would you draft Wayne Gallman? I don't think I would. Derrick Henry, I wouldn't draft his backup. Alvin Kamara, people are going to draft Lat Murray before you even get a chance to draft his backup. Dalvin Cook is a player that most people have in their top 10 to where you have to genuinely consider in the later rounds, do I go for depth at wide receiver, possibly pick my first quarterback, my tight end, or do I get the backup for a player that's supposed to be a stud? That's just what separates the other 5 guys from Dalvin Cook for me, is more than likely having to need to draft his backup with him. That's how it is for me. Do you have anything on that?
No. The one thing I would say, know your league. If you're in a very active league, I wouldn't mind drafting Cook. Watch him perform and then trade him. You don't always have to try to upgrade in your trades. But then if you could turn him around while he's running back 1, 2, or 3 in the year, first couple of weeks, wins you a couple games.
Mm-hmm.
Trade them off, get a couple pieces to help benefit off your team.
Yeah, especially if you're I don't necessarily know the schedules for the players in front of him off the top of my head, but let's say one of them does have a rocky schedule with 3 or 4 games against really good run defenses. Then you get Dalvin Cook, and he kills it the first few weeks.
Detroit or runs through Green Bay.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. Trade Dalvin Cook for someone that's above him. Things like that. I don't know. Do you have anything else for our top 6 running backs?
Just Kamara. Kamara in 2017, he was number 3 running back. In 2018, he was number 4. Last year finished off 12th, but he did only play 14 games.
Yep.
He says he played hurt the whole year, and I do believe that. I think he referenced his leg was about 75% healthy, which is pretty insane for what he was still able to do. But if you watched him, you could tell he just wasn't the explosive Alvin Kamara that scored 14 touchdowns in 2018.
Right.
Just looking at stats, 2017, he had 120 carries, 8 touchdowns. 2018, 194 carries, 14 touchdowns I just talked about. Last year, you knew there was going to be a regression. 14 touchdowns for a guy that size just wasn't going to happen again.
Right.
He still had 171 carries, missed 2 games, so he would have been around that maybe 200 carry mark, which is what I kind of put him at again. But he only finished with 5 touchdowns.
And that's not as much wear and tear as the other guys in the top 5. I mean, he gets a lot of receptions, but some of these guys get in the 250, almost 300 range year in, year out for carries.
Yeah, he's on an offense that's going to put him in positions to score with a QB and a coach that will allow him to thrive. A weird fact about him when I started looking, every year since he's been in the league, he's had 81 receptions, 17, 18, 19. So it seems like they pretty consistent that he's going to have around the 80 reception mark, maybe a little bit more. But PPR, he's going to be gold. Standard scoring, you're going to rely on those touchdowns. Like I said, his ceiling is 14, and his floor is 5. I put him around maybe 7 or 8, possibly 10, which would easily make him a top 5 running back.
Yeah, I agree. So those are our top 6 running backs. We'll be back soon with running backs 7 through 12. Leave us a comment of who you think are your top 6 running backs.
Who did we leave out?
Yeah, who did we leave out? Do you think Joe Mixon or Aaron Jones or anyone like that, or Kenyon Drake deserve to be in this section? Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, give us a like. I'll put our Twitters in the bio like usual. And again, thank you for checking us out.